Questions in the room?
Asia, you nearly shot. I mean, you're shooting 70% at one point. Can you just talk about the matchup that you just faced? Obviously, you
Um,
played a great game.
yeah. Uh, Taking what the defense gives me is going to always be what I do, how I operate, and I love it because it changes every game, changes every possession sometimes. So yeah, I was just taking what the defense was giving me, and sometimes they were giving me the drive, sometimes they were giving me the right, sometimes they were giving me the jumper, all of that. So and I have to credit my teammates because they got me the basketball in the right places at the right time, and they just started to fall, unlike Chicago.
If I could ask a follow-up question for both of you, what do you feel like you two could change in the last possession to obviously change the outcome of this game?
Well, honestly, it didn't come down to that. So, I mean, we got to look. We got Asia shooting the basketball at the 3-point line. I'm confident in that. So, but I mean, we go down the stretch in our fourth quarter just killed us. How they scored 32 points in that fourth quarter. So, it don't even go to that last possession for real.
Asia, after a tough game against Chicago, where you managed 20 points and 18 rebounds, I know that you talked about, the challenging night, 8 of 28, shoot night, but you came back with an incredible 42 points tonight. How do you mentally and physically prepare for such a turnaround like that? Like, you flip that switch. I mean, I've been professional and everything, but I just want to, get your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a part of the game. I wish I could shoot perfect every game. I wish I could shoot above 50% every single game, but that's not always the case. And I try to find myself. I give myself 24 hours to not just linger in it and feel sorry for myself, but yeah, I just kind of like I said, take what the defense gives me, see what the next day looks like, see how they're guarding me, and kind of go from there. But I don't. I'm the type of person where I don't let a lot of things linger because it takes you out of the moment, and so I try to give everything its own space. So that was Chicago, cool. Did that, awful, bricked it, cool. Then I kind of folded to this game. With the same mindset I went into the Chicago game, like just doing what the defense gives me, and if they fall, they fall. But if they don't, I'm gonna try to still be productive for my team. And so today it was this, but we didn't get the win, so none of that matters.
And as a follow-up question for Chelsea, you missed the last game that y'all were there when we played the Wings. From your perspective, how can you explain like how they matched up? Y'all matched up then and then versus you watching the game and then you playing in the game. So what's the difference between then and now? Obviously, the big one is the loss, but what did you see tonight with this Wings team versus how y'all played them tonight?
I mean, they were also different because they didn't have Natasha Howard and Satou. So the matchups, the movement, their plays, everything is different when you're missing two players like that. And then the rebounding as well. And so that changes the nature of the game when the matchups are a little bit different. Um, and so it came down, I don't know, it was 26 to 40 rebounding and then points in the paint. So they're a huge part of that rebounding and points in the paint.
Yeah, Chelsea, I know you and Chris Paul are very close. I know he supports women's basketball. He said earlier this year that he wants to invest at some point when he retires in the WNBA. Thoughts about that from a friend's perspective, and then also just the males trying to actually invest in you guys' game, pretty much.
Hmm. Um, I think investment is key no matter who it is, male or female. I think the relationship, he's been a fan of our game and been around it for a long period of time, and he's seen a bunch of players come through our league. Investment, no matter who it is, you see in the product, and if we just can expand from there, I believe. Mike Pope.
Yeah, Asia and Chelsea, I wonder if you guys could comment on this. It feels like at this point in the year, records don't mean as much as what the teams you're playing look like. And we saw that obviously yesterday with Washington having a couple of injured players back, with Satu back, and as you mentioned, Natasha Howard. How difficult does that make sort of these games down the stretch, and that you have these teams like a Dallas or Washington who aren't playing with a lot of pressure, but are better than they've been earlier in the season? I wonder if how difficult that makes some of these matchups.
Well, it changes when you, like you said, when you have injuries and people coming back into lineups, and so they're looking like their full form and looking like their team. With Washington, you have Sykes coming back, Shakira Austin, and then, like I said, you have Satu and Howard coming back. Um, but they're just like in this league, like anybody can be beat, anybody can win. So um, there's a lot, like the records really don't paint the whole picture. And there's a lot more, what's it called, parity, whatever, and throughout in the standings and stuff. Like everybody is trying to play their best basketball heading in September and into October.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, ladies.